Hey everybody, this is Abby here from the Museum of Antiquities, and welcome to another craft tutorial. Today we are going to be making our very own stained glass windows. Now, before we begin, you'll have want to make sure that you've already watched our video on stained glass in the Middle Ages. That video can be found on your camp page on our WordPress website. Now before we get going on our craft, let's just go over the materials that we'll be using to make our stained glass windows. In your boxes, you'll all have a black template like this one. Now mine looks a little different from what yours does because we each have a slightly different one. And that's okay, that just means we're all gonna be super unique from each other and have something amazing afterwards. You'll all have a bag of tissue paper, some wax paper, and we'll also be needing supplies to make a glue mixture. So we have white glue, a paintbrush, and I have a little bit of water here. And if you don't have white glue, that's totally okay too. A glue stick will work totally fine. Let's start by making our white glue mixture. Now in a bowl or a plastic cup, you're gonna wanna have some white glue. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit splash of water, carefully add it in, and we're gonna mix it all together with the white glue. And we're gonna mix and mix until it gets nice and a little goopy, a little soupy, like that. Now what we're gonna do with this mixture, make sure to brush the excess along the side, is dab it on an area of your wax paper. Not too much, and not all over the paper because it'll dry. We'll just do a little area at a time. So I'll put my brush like this. And now we'll be taking our little pieces of tissue paper and we're gonna stick it on the glue that we just used. And again, you can also use a glue stick for this. And when you're using a glue stick, you'll add the glue stick to the wax paper and then you put your tissue paper. You wanna be careful with this because the tissue paper is very delicate, so it'll rip very easily. Now what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of blues and greens for my hills right here. I'm looking at the area where the hills will go and I'm adding those colors. So you can be specific with your colors, or you can also take any color you want and just throw it in the mix. Make it very bright and colorful. Now when we're placing our tissue papers, you can place them all over the place, but eventually we're also gonna want them to have some overlap so that we make sure there's no white spaces eventually. Now that I've done this section, I'm gonna take my paintbrush again, add more glue to it, and now I'm doing this part of my template, my stained glass window. As we're gluing, we want to make sure that we're leaving a little bit of borders and room on the sides so that later we can easily glue our template over top. Now when you finish laying down all of your tissue paper pieces onto the wax paper, you'll want it to leave it to dry for a few minutes. Mine's already mostly dried, so I'm gonna start off gluing my template over top. Now on your templates, you'll wanna make sure the black side is facing upwards, but mine is black on both sides. So we'll take our glue and we'll add a nice light amount even to the middle lines. Now we especially want to add glue to the borders of our template. And this whole time we're being super, super careful of where we put our glue so we don't get it all over the table, because that will cause our template to stick and rip. So now once our template has glue all over the back of it, you'll flip it over so that you see the black facing up, and we'll put it nice and super carefully over top of our tissue paper, pressing down super hard so that it gets nice and sticks to the tissue paper. You might have a little bit of excess, so ask an adult and we'll just cut off the excess right there. And there it is. Once you've allowed your creation to dry, you'll have your very own stained glass window. If you want to, you can try hanging up on a real window so that the sunlight will catch the colors and make them pop. Thank you so much for joining me as we made this craft together. If you want, you can check out our WordPress page for more fun games and crafts to do, like this one. Bye, see you next time. The museum would love to see what you guys have come up with and to share your creations with our friends. Share pictures of your creations with us by messaging us on our Facebook page, by email, or tagging us on Twitter. Also, be sure to check our social media pages and our website to see your creation alongside our friends.